Hello everyone, my name is Rin. Welcome to Daily Trades by Rin. Today is July 24th, 2026. Let's go and get started. Hey, make sure you tap the follow and the turn on notification. I got a very insightful um, experience today where I'm going to share with you the techniques I've learned while trading. I took a big risk, right? I was risking about $38 for um, to try to make a profit about $82, and I failed. But in the course of failing, I've learned a whole bunch. Right, I lost about $9. As you can see, it's about 83% of my portfolio, and so actually I was able to close out on my contract that I held overnight with positive gain of about with a positive gain of about 28 bucks. And the reason why is because, for one, my profit that I was gonna see was only $33, right? And then in the beginning of the day, it actually rallied all the way up to like 741. So I probably took it out right here on the rally because it started crashing on me here, so I couldn't pull it out, right? Because even though I was still good, my time decay caused me to slightly barely make profit. So like the $9-10 I had profit on it yesterday turned out to be like $2 to $3, right? Because it went actually down here, even though that was still above my range for the contract. My contract was I believe was like 736. I did a bullish on 736, right? Yeah, so it presented itself to be like one of those things where I'm like, okay, I gotta hang on to it. And I believe I had yeah, cut out right here, up here to 740, right? Because I was like, hey, look, I got back to the 740, high 742, so it closed at 740.86, whatever, right? So then I was like, okay, cool, I'll take that. So it was good enough for it to be a $20 gain at that point. It could also possibly be around here because I do distinctly remember like it being 741. So it could be up here somewhere where I pulled out of that contract, right? Okay, but that's not what I wanted to talk about, right? So what I want to talk about was when I got into this other contract today, right? And I got it up here, but I got it to be bearish, right? And the reason why I got it to be bearish was because I was like, hey, you know what? Um, this is just price manipulation, right? It went to the top, and then I had already distinctly made a range for it to go back down to pretty low, right? If you remember, I said it was going to be 744 to about 735, right? And as you can see, where we're at right now, we're at on the day the market has to close it. We're at 737, and it went all the way down to 737, like a low 737. You know what I mean? Still working its way down, right? But um, what I really wanted to talk about was the fact that what I learned during this whole I took a risk to learn something, right? I was risking $40, and but the thing was taking that I didn't take that risk initially, right? So when I bought in at so most of my buy in was $33, right? Not buy in, but my collateral that I used was about $33 to get into the position, right? Which was going to guarantee me about like I'm about to end the money, but it was like the range was far away. So it was like the range was like 736, right? It was, yeah, 736, the same um, opposing contract that I got the last time, right? So what I did was yeah, I held on to it, right? At a really super discounted price, right? As it came down this way, I started seeing the good numbers. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's working its way, whatever, right? But I mean, it's still early in the day, so it wasn't really changing the data wasn't really changing the value of the price. So it was like positive a couple bucks. So I was like, I'm not gonna pull out, right? So So then, I kind of hung on to more. And the crazy thing was, it kept going up. So, um, okay, whatever. I think, okay, I got it more along this area right here still, right? 741. So I thought I had it pretty good, right? Thing is, it started pumping the 743. It started pumping the 743. Then that's when I was like, oh dang, dude, like literally, like it was the price was I was losing money, you know what I mean? But the discount for that same contract was a lot more discounts now, right? So I actually multiply my contract um, by two more quantities, right? So then now I have three contracts, right, which collateralized to like $300 worth, right? So the thing is, right, I can't I can't close it. That is the maximum loss, right? There's a maximum loss, right? So even though it's collateralized like $300, right, which potentially the total amount lost would only be like 30 something dollars, right? It's because my average price, my average price, right? So if I were to like was it if I was able to like close out at 100%, I would lose like only like 35 dollars something like that, right? Because of the contract that I held, right? And then so however, right, if it goes based on the market price of the contract at a certain time. So it depends on when you close out, right? Because market price is different, right? It can go past the full 100%, right? Let's say it went to 125, right? Or 135, right? So it'd be that 30 something dollars that I owe in collateral, right? Times that extra 20 cents, right? Which would make it $50, right? Times three, right? Then to be like 150. So then on top of that collateral that's already in there already, right? I would have to owe an additional $20. Does that make sense? I mean additional $50. Wait, 300 plus 20. What? It was 50. 150. Yeah, 150. Additional. Yeah, additional $50. That's crazy, right? So I was looking to lose $80. Right? So the reason why I posted this up is, I actually was profited, right? Remember yesterday? Well, if you look at the overall picture, yesterday I lost about $20, $25. Today I gained about 25, so I broke even, right? But the cool thing is breaking even from yesterday, right? My account is still good, right? I'm looking to go closer to 300, right? Remember I initially started at 170, right? So I nearly almost passed half, no not half, um, almost doubling my account, right? So I need about 350 to double my account. You know what I mean? So almost 2x, maybe 1.5 right now. X, you know. So is it worth it for me? Yeah, it's worth it, right? To do this every day because I'm not really doing anything but playing a game, right? That I pretty much mastered, and I'm still trying to master it some more, right? Um, so okay, so this is what I learned, right? I learned a couple things, right? So okay, what did I learn? Right? I learned patterns, guys. Patterns are real and they work. You know what I mean? So the first thing I saw was right, and there's reason for these patterns too, and and you can only begin to understand it when you're putting it in motion, right? So okay, so okay, this is the thing, right? So there's okay, so all this goes together, right? So let's say you have two strong price lines, right? And it needs to go to both of them, right? So that people can make moves between those contracts, right? Because all those contracts need to be closed or they get exercised, right? It's gonna get closed regardless, right? And what the it's not even an algorithm. I'm not sure what makes it move, right? Buying and selling, yeah, buying and selling being move, right? So people they're just like, I don't want to hang on to this. I gotta let it go, right? It's either making me money or it's losing me money, so they're letting it go. And the reason why when they let it go, right? When they're open and closing it, when they let it go, it makes these moves, right? And these moves, technically they're not random, right? They're based on the amount of volume of how people letting go of their contracts, so opening and closing, right? So and it's on a day-to-day basis, right? That's why you have these um, waves, right? We call them waves, but they're not. They're not what do you call that? They're not waves that are predictable, right? They're not what you call it, oscillating waves where you can tell exactly what. They're not like constellations where like planets are like rotating around in a path. There's no path, right? There's no path, right? But what you have is your ability to look ahead a little bit, right? So when you understand that, then you can definitely make better choices, right? Therefore, I was able to produce this, right? Look how far I crashed, right? I crashed 47%. 40%, 7% of my account, right? That's almost at 300. Is how much? That's almost half my account, guys. I might as well take it back to 170 or 160, right? Or maybe even less than that, 125, 130, actually. Yeah, 130. You feel me? So, yeah. So, you see how it all works, right? So, like, and the thing is, when you don't know the reason why certain things function, you're blind, right? So all these people taking mentorship programs from these people that are teaching them, right? And if the mentor is blind, it's the blind leading the blind. You feel me? I saw a mentor guy, right? He was talking about all this stuff that he's drawing charts and stuff, and he's like, oh, I took this here, but my timing's off, right? And he lost like I believe $500, right? Because he his timing was off. But was there an actual reason? You know what I mean? Like you can explain everything, that you see all you want, right? But if it doesn't match the reasoning, you can't produce the results. You lose $500, right? But he goes on to say, well, I lost 500, but I gained, 30,000, right? When did you gain 30,000? If you focus on this contract, if the rest of your contracts were 30,000, and you 30x the same contract, it doesn't make sense to me, right? Um, even that technical reasoning, you know, but obviously people don't show the receipts, right? So I don't know. Maybe he got something else going on that's 30,000. But to me, I'm giving you the things that I see, right? Because I'm working on it every day. And plus, I don't have a big account, so I don't have no reason to lie. When you have a big account, you have more reason to lie. Or when you have a lot of followers, right? That's entrusting you to be the mentor. You have a reason to lie. I don't have no followers. I'm doing this on behalf of me and my experience to go forward, right? And I can't explain myself before about the reason why I'm doing this, but it's all right. I can keep this to myself, but I'm not going to, right? So okay, what I learned, right? What I learned is this. Check this out, right? I learned what a backward wedge was, guys. And look how many times it presented itself, and look how many times it does what it's supposed to do. One, two, and the very last one, three, boom. Guys, I could have made all that money, right, if I wasn't locked into that one contract, right? But the issue is, I did that to learn something, right? I could have just knocked it out and just start over. Boom, 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 right? I wanted to see if it will crash all the way down to 736, right? And look where it's at right now, 737, right? I canceled it because the data already took out the money already, and I was able to save myself a huge amount. You know what I mean? So basically, I nearly broke even on this account. Like literally, I started off at like 73 um, discount, right? Well, the contract was just kind of it was $73 in value for me, right? And then it got discounted more to like past 100, which just means I average it out to like 80 something, right? I think it was like 86, right? So, and I blocked, and then I was able to um, to pull out at I believe like 990. Remember, when I get closer to zero, that's when I get all my profits, right? So I was able to get out at like 90, 90, 91 or 92, where technically I'm only losing about, well, it's whatever I made earlier today minus whatever um, the rest of my money that I got back from the last contract that I held, right? So it was a minus for the day minus $9, right? That's how I save myself. Um, and like sometimes you get glitches like this one, right? And this is the potential I would have made with this glitch. Let's see if I can use the glitch. Plus 49, right? That's if because the glitch happens, and the Robinhood thinks like instead of a inverse contract, it thinks it's the regular contract. So then it shows me my full potential, which is plus. It would have been like plus 100 and something, 150, right? 40. It was like 49%, right? So I would have been well over 2x for today if I would have made the whole play correctly, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. So I learned about the backward wedge pattern, right? And the reason why it produced backward wedge patterns, and then the reason why it did it 3 times, right? So all 3 times it had 2 strong price points, right? And it needed to get to those price points, right? So every time it got there, so like for example, right, price point, right? So it makes wedges, right? Because it needs to clear out. It needs to clear out all the contracts, right? Price point, 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 right? So create that wedge, right? So now you're looking at all these other ones now. Now you know that these price points, you can figure out what the price point. Remember what I talked about, right? If you can figure out the strength of the price points, right? Then you pretty much you learn the essence of trading, right? Um, strength, right? So if you figure that it's a wedge pattern, right? You don't need to figure out the strength of the price point. You need to buy the contract where it's gonna, give you the most profits, right? You know what I mean? So let's say you bought a call option up here, right? To crash, right? Or sold a call option to crash, then you would technically get all this gain right here. Same thing over here. Same thing over here. You feel me? I made all these wedges right when they got to the high point too, right? Think about it, right? All these wedges are high points. So when I drew this wedge and I saw that it was consolidating on this thing, right? Because it will consolidate. You know what I mean? When I saw it consolidating on the price, right? I knew it was going to break through the wedge, right? And it was going to crash. It's going to consolidate the thing, right? Remember, it's not going to go to the top of the line because it can't. It's too high. So on a backward wedge, the top range or the top resistance is going to be too high, so it crashes right. Right as it consolidates, wherever it consolidates at, it's going to crash. Same thing here, right? Look how small this wedge was, and I still was able to figure it out, right? You know what I mean? And on top of that, this wedge and this wedge produced a ascending wedge, right? But coming from the upside, right? Coming from the upside, so it forces it down, so giving it more strength to go down even further. Crazy, right? You know what I mean? You know, and like when you're able to pursue all this, right? And you come to realize, okay, well, there's no reason for it to go down anymore because they did its job already for the day, right? Well, technically, if you were buying right now, technically could have bottomed out right here, right? You don't have to really figure out consolidation anymore or no confirmation anymore, right? You knew this was the bottom already, right? You can if you want, but it did a lot of work already. It's done working. It's time to do something else. You feel me? So yeah, guys, that's what I did today, and telling you, this stuff was amazing, guys. Um, knowledge is power, guys. Anyways, that's my 2 cents for the day, guys. Thanks for joining me live today. Again, my name is Ren. You're you're joining me daily on Daily Trades by Ren. Today is July 24th, 2026. Peace.